Good day, guys. Welcome to Scholarships and Lifestyle with Ash. Today, we'll be talking about factors to consider in choosing a country to study abroad. Now, for every or any course you are interested in, that course is being offered by an institution, and that institution is domiciled in a country. So, broadly speaking, you have to choose a country for your study destination. Charity, they say, begins at home. So let me start by addressing PTDF scholars or the would-be PTDF scholars. Now, PTDF scholarship offers you the opportunity to study either in the UK, France, Germany, or Malaysia. You can only play around with this choice of countries for your overseas studies. For the host of other scholarships that are out there, you have many countries as options to play around with. The recent development, especially in terms of the current applications, from what I've observed from the WhatsApp groups so far, is more than 80% of applicants are all about the UK. They all want to come to the UK, neglecting the fact that you have Germany, France, and Malaysia. So apart from the factors which we are going to talk about, this is a wake-up call for those who are still applying, that you have other countries and other institutions to play around with. What happens when everybody wants to go to UK is that UK now becomes top notch competition, because you have a higher number there, so that increases or raises the stakes when it comes to who gets it. So, well, aside that, there are other factors to consider. Well, be guided by the factors which I discussed. And then for other persons who are applying for scholarships in other countries, well, it's fine. Do your homework well, do your research well, and hopefully this video will be a perfect guide for you. The first factor you should consider is ease of admission. Now, every institution, for every course you want to study, has a list of requirements for you. How easy is it for you to meet up these requirements, to meet up their admission? That's the first thing you should consider. So you look at what you have versus what they are requesting for, and if you can strike a balance, then go ahead. If you fall below some of those admission requirements, then please begin to look for other institutions in other countries who have requirements you can easily meet up with. Another point would be visa and travel requirements. While for other countries it is so easy to get their student visa or have a smooth sail through the application process to get your visa, it's a lot complicated with others. So do your research very well, ask people around, and find out where it is easier for you to process your visa and travel documents. Another point would be language or communication. Regardless of the fact that the university you may be studying in may be English taught, the immediate environment, because your life is not going to be all within the institution. You have to go out, look for job opportunities, go out to the market and get foodstuff for yourself, go out and socialize, interact with persons. What would be the language, or what would be the means of communication? So you have to put this into consideration. If you're going to a country that, even if your course will be taught in English language, the major language of communication outside is different from that of English. You know very well you have to learn that language. Do you have the skill for it? Are you determined to learn the language? Are you ready to subject yourself to the honors of learning it? If not, re-examine your choice of that country. Another thing will be the type of program you want to engage in or the university rankings. This is a very important factor. So while a lot of persons, a lot of universities take pride that their alumni members are scattered all across the world, have a very high employability profile, a lot of potential students also look into some of these profiles and rankings. And a university that is renowned or reputable for a particular course over time would have developed a very high pedigree of materials, resources, and equipment, and the state-of-the-art technology in enabling students to learn that particular course. So when you check such university rankings and you find such, you would naturally be interested in it or in that program. But mind you, such universities with such rankings and such courses are not always so lenient when it comes to their admission requirements. And so by the time you would have tried to look at the university ranking and the ease of admission, strike a balance between that and see if it's really worth it. Another factor you consider would be weather. Weather. Some countries are very cold, some moderately cold, some very similar to where you are coming from. So whichever country you want to settle in for, be sure you know the weather and be sure you don't have any allergies to the kind of weather you have there, just so you don't have an issue settling into the environment, because it can be a bit of a distraction when you enter a country and the weather is not one that is friendly or compatible with your body system, or one which does not allow you to adapt so early. You have a huge amount of time wasted in you trying to adjust and cope with the weather. Another factor that you would consider will be living situation. Living situation here, I will talk about the ease of accommodation or the ease of settling in. So while a lot of institutions abroad have societies of your country of origin where you are coming from, a lot of persons still have connections to relatives or friends or persons they have met through one social media or another in their country of destination. It becomes a very big factor. So if you are coming into a country and you don't know anybody and you couldn't even make provision for accommodation online, then becomes very difficult, because you have to have readily available cash money in the currency of the country to be able to find yourself shelter. That becomes a very big deal. So while choosing a particular institution and country, be sure of the ease of getting accommodation, accessibility to persons you already know who can help you provide shelter before you are able to stand on your feet. Another factor would be local life or lifestyle in your country of destination. You should be very mindful of that. Make research online, on the internet. Ask people, what is the situation of things in this area where I want to go to or I intend going to? What's the situation of things in this country? What's the lifestyle of the people? You don't want to find yourself in a community where there are every now and then it will be a shock to you. You would definitely not see it coming, and it may do a lot to your mental health. So watch out for that. Another factor will be food. Food is very important because you definitely have to eat and drink for your life to be sustained. So you find out about what kind of food is obtainable in the country you intend proceeding to. So you begin to prepare yourself ahead of time, the kind of food you are going to meet when you finally arrive. Regardless of the fact that you might make preparation to bring in one or two things from your home country, you will definitely exhaust that stock of food and you will need replenishment or restocking. And when the time comes for restocking, you may not, because of financial issues, be able to move things from your home country to your current country, and so you may have to survive majorly or substantially on the local food. So find out about the local food and begin to prepare your mind as to how you adapt to the local food. Another point will be employment or career opportunities during your studies and even after your studies. So you can also find out a lot of this information by talking to people who are already in those countries, or you can do online research. There are a lot of information out there on the internet that tell you the employability profile of a particular graduate, from a particular institutions, or the entire employability profile of a country, especially to international students or graduates from those institutions. It will be very important, because if you intend to continue on a career path within that country, and then it's not a country that is so liberal when it comes to employment of people, especially from where you may be coming from, then you are going to have a lot of issues on your hands. You may be disappointed at the end of the day that the target you have set for your career achievement trajectory, you may be falling short of that. Another thing you would consider would be the culture of the people. It's a very, very important thing. You are a foreigner in the country you intend going to. So one very important question you ask yourself is, what is the percentage of international students in that location? This is very available on the internet, sometimes not even on the school website, or from the country statistics. You'll be able to know the percentage of international students within that country. If you have a low percentage of international students, then there is reason for you to ask questions why that is so. But when there's a high percentage of international students, you know the environment has to be favorable. They are welcoming, and they have policies on ground that allow international students to feel at home, and that is why you have quite a good number of them. But you do not want to find yourself in a location where you have a very little or very low percentage of international students. Find out the reason why and be sure before you take that step. And the final point I'll be talking about will be the cost of living. You have to transport, you have to buy food, you have to seek for accommodation, you have to pay for health, you have to pay for your clothing and all of those. So if you find yourself in a country where the cost of living is very high and your financial capability does not equate that cost of living, you have quite an issue to handle. So it's preferable you find yourself in a country that has a moderate or low cost of living, so it is easier for you to survive in. The list may be quite inexhaustive, but I believe this is just a guide to bring to consciousness what factors you should actually consider when you want to choose a study destination abroad. So at this point in time, I'd like to thank you all for watching, and thank you so much for subscribing. Thank you for your shares. I appreciate your reviews that have come in and your comments. Please, anywhere you find a reason to ask a question, do, and we'll do well to reply. You can also send us an email and we'll reply within a very good time. Thank you once again.